Hey guys, this is your host Eric. Today we are going to watch action genre movie called Harsh Time. Spoilers ahead, turn on your subtitle, I greatly appreciate your support. Enjoy the video. Jim is a former soldier who suffers from PTSD and has nightmares about his time on the battlefield. I was dressed in a suit. He arrives at Sylvia's residence. She is the girlfriend of his best friend, and she forbids him from drinking because he is addicted to it while waiting for him. Jimbo lavishes her with compliments. Mike is out of work, in contrast to Sylvia, who is a lawyer. He lies to her about his job hunting, but Jim has come to assist him in finding one. They decide to share a morning beer despite Sylvia's warnings. They arrive at Lapd to pick up a document while discussing Jim's financial situation in the relationship. Jim learns that he is no longer qualified to be a police officer. He loses control and begins yelling at the car in front of him. But Mike calms him down and persuades him to call the sheriff's department and try his luck there. They decide to screw up. They both buy some beers and proceed to the liquor store's cash register. Mike wishes to purchase a few ciggy rather than the entire pack, but the cashier refuses. Jimbo mocks him and takes a few SIGs from the pack. He doesn't care what the cashier wants outside the store. After seeing a man being chased by Amigo with a, Jimbo feels like a gangster. They obtain Pito and FRAS. Mary Jane is the only thing missing. They notice a merchant on the street hiding his bag of substances near a well while watching him. It is decided to borrow from the nice guy and pay him back later. Patty, a Mexican girl, refuses Jim entry into the house, which he disregards and goes to see his ex-girlfriend. He can't figure out why the lady is with the douche after everything they've been through. He kisses Letty as he prepares to leave, and her boyfriend arrives in the driveway. Jim flees through the back door, but he is stopped and apprehended by Flacco. 4 people get out of the car and begin mopping Jim just as he is being attacked. Mike arrives, and Jim obtains a firearm. He threatens Flacco and his followers, forcing them to sit on a curb while he steals their money and drives away. They're splitting the profits after their successful escape. Mike pulls out a bag containing 2 handguns that he stole from Flacco. They also make the decision to sell them while drinking beers in an apartment. Jim receives a call from Homeland Security and agrees to meet with them the next day to begin testing. He is informed that a urinalysis is required, but he realizes that he has smoked Mary Jane. However, it will not deter him. Jim arrives at Mike's house in the morning. While Jim receives a vinegar shot to shut down his kidneys, Sylvia makes him a coffee, gives Mike lunch money, and leaves for work. They also leave the house. Jim has another trick in mind for better urine analysis that he recalls from his time in the army. It's disgusting, but it gets the job done. Contestants are asked to remove their jackets and jewelry while waiting in line. When the next person is required to enter the testing, Jim pushes him out of the way and skips the line because his sausage was calling for assistance. Commander requests Jim's full name and orders him to conduct the analysis. Agent Richards is aware that Jim is a ranger with some urine tricks. They talk about how it felt to shoot someone in the army while driving to a location where they're supposed to sell the gun. Jim explains that he always moves forward and does not stop to think about it. Daryl, the Old Spice guy, welcomes them inside. He explains that he just got out of jail and has no plans to return. Jim informs him of his new job opportunity and displays the weapons to him. Unfortunately, Daryl lacks the funds to purchase the guns, so he suggests that they be sold by someone else. Meanwhile, Mike asks Daryl for a favor: call his house's automated phone answer as a phony employer. So Mike's girlfriend would believe that in his spare time, he is looking for work. They later arrive at a bar and decide that it would be best if they did not wear the suits there. So they change their clothes, go inside, and order some drinks. Jim invites a lovely lady to show them who Eddie, the alleged weapon buyer, is. Eddie takes a seat at the table after they shake hands. Eddie is stabbed in the neck and bleeds after they have agreed on a deal. While driving away, Jim and Mike dash to their car. Mike is terrified and shocked when Jim, Jim, explains how in the army he witnessed far worse when one of his buddies had his arms and legs blown off and still survived. When Mike gets home, Sylvia tells him that she feels like she's doing everything on her own and that Mike is her little baby. He suggests she listen to the phony audio message Darryl left for him. Unfortunately, Darryl did not quickly put the phone down, and Sylvia hears Jimbo's voice in the background. She becomes enraged and kicks Mike out of the house. Remove yourself from this situation, she yells as Mike walks away, sleeping on his couch. Agent Richards calls Jim to inform him that he has passed the analysis and must return that day to continue testing. Jim explains that he will easily pass the psychological test. Jim has already passed his exam. Richard suggests getting a cup of coffee. He tells Jimbo that he was discharged from LAPD due to his psych tests. Jim is told that his Spanish knowledge will be tested and that he is welcome here because people from above are keeping an eye on him. While Jim is being tested, Mike is waiting for a job in a lobby. When the interviewee arrives, he realizes he and Mike are old friends. They board the elevator and ascend to his office. Jim is picked up from his testing by Mike, who offers him a beer. He is overjoyed to tell him about his potential new job, hourly rate, and benefits. Jim explains how he was chosen for a polygraph test and how he will breeze through it. Jimbo has explained how he is supposed to answer the questions while sitting in a lie detector chair, but he lies about smoking on the test. The old man testing him, Mary Jane, tells him that he's been doing polygraph examinations since Jimbo was in Daddy's Jewels. He can't fool him. Agent Richards meets with Jim and informs him that they are unhappy with his candor. They enter the regional director's office, where Mr. Gillespie is also seated. Agent Richards describes the situation in which they discovered THC metabolite. Jim claims that he smoked a joint because he was upset about not getting into LAPD. Mr. Gillespie, who runs several operations, wants Jim to join the Latin American Anti-Narcotics Program. He can slice WANs like butter because of his fearless behavior in the army. Jimbo mentions wanting to marry, but despite agreeing to join the team in Colombia, he leaves the office and hops in the car, where they crack open a few cold beers to celebrate the good news for both of them. A police car pulls up behind them just as they're finishing their beer. "I can dump these guys and rip the video out of their trunk," Jim says. They are terrified of the stolen gun in their vehicle. The cops get out of the car and pull out there. "Let's see how many people have their hands up," one of them screams. The cop turns out to be a friend of theirs, and they talk about Mike and Jimbo's new jobs. Jim offers to buy their gun without hesitation. Leo, on the other hand, refuses and suggests another man who might be interested. He leaves his phone number and they agree to go clubbing in the evening, but Mike cancels. They arrive at a friend's house the moment he leaves in the evening. 2 Cent congratulates Jim on his new job, and Jimbo offers to buy him them. He buys the pistol right away after getting hyped up, offering to take them clubbing. However, Jim suggests that they stop in Mexico while they're on their way. They drive by Sylvia's house so Mike can tell her the good news about his new job. She is overjoyed and kisses him. They proceed to their bedroom. Jimbo and his friend are tired of waiting and decide to hurry him up. Jimbo is upset because this is their last chance to hang out before he leaves for Colombia. "You remind me of my brother," he states. Sylvia, on the other hand, does not want Mike to accompany him. She considers him to be a dangerous man. Mike says he promised to make her angry. If he leaves, she won't be there. Nonetheless, they leave the house and travel to Mexico. Jim awakens them and welcomes them with his girlfriend, Marta, and her family. They all go to the lake and drink beers while sitting on huge rocks by the beach while women wash their clothes. Jim informs both of his friends that he is being sent to Colombia and will most likely not marry. Mike suggests that Jim marry her and relocate to Mexico, to which 2 Cent concurs. Jim is unconcerned and says he will go. The friends are at a small Mexican festival featuring live music. They're drinking beers when Jim suggests Mike dance with a girl who has her eye on him. Jim and Marta walk to his car and begin making. He's completely inebriated, but Marta tells him she's pregnant and wants to have the baby. Jimbo loses control and holds a gun to Marta's head. Mike notices what is going on and calms him down. They grab Tucson and drive off down the driveway. Jim has gone insane. He's drinking and driving fast, but Mike is trying to slow him down. When they drop Sen off, he is speechless. He suggests Jim seek professional psychiatric help. Jimbo, on the other hand, is uninterested in his suggestions. He rejects him. Jim casually mentions having 40 pounds of marijuana in the trunk while explaining the situation to Marta. He suggests dropping it off and earning some extra money. Mike becomes enraged and demands to be let out of the car, causing Jim to lose. He pulls out a gun and points it at Mike, who is completely disappointed because he could never point a gun at him, but agrees to go and deliver the goods. They arrive back at Casper, "as house." Jim opens the trunk and retrieves the bag. He mentions that they must depart, so Casper yells for someone to bring out the money. Casper's friend with the money turns out to be Flacco. Both enemies draw their pistols and point them at each other. Everyone advises Mike to leave, but he refuses. Jim loses control and shoots Flacco, Casper, and 2 others. Despite Mike's entreaties not to do so, Jim's action astounds him. Jim gets in the car and they drive away, but Grandpa runs out of Casper's house with a shotgun and shoots at their car, hitting Jim with a couple of bullets. Mike has pulled over and wishes to take Jim to the hospital. Jim, on the other hand, does not want to be taken care of. He is unable to feel his arms or legs. He's badly hurt and just wants Mike to take his life and leave as soon as possible. He speaks in hushed tones. "You were curious about what it was like to murder someone. I love you," Mike says as he points a gun at Jim Bacco's head. He pulls the trigger and flees. Jimbo will most likely not attend Colombia. Sylvia has packed everything she owns into her car. "I'm still in shock." Mike finally hugs her. "We really appreciate you watching. If you enjoy this video, please give it a like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel with the notification bell because it is really important for us. Thank you.